In 2025, I'm going to be posting one video a month. Only one video a month.
Lesson learned. Don't make promises you can't keep. So one thing about me, I'm a wrestling girly, especially WWE. I got into professional wrestling like last summer after watching clips of The Bloodline and watching Bianca Belair and Montez Ford's reality show Loving WWE on Hulu. And I've been tuning into every Raw and SmackDown since September of last year. So I'm a recent fan. And WrestleMania 41 is this weekend. It's my first WrestleMania and I'm actually very excited about it. So I'm going to go through the entire match card by night, give my opinions, what I'd like to see win, etc. Because I'm very excited about this WrestleMania. So first we have LA Knight and Jacob Fatu for the United States Championship. I want to see Jacob win. I honestly think it's time for LA Knight's reign as US champion to end. Jacob's been a huge force in the new bloodline and he's been dominating his singles push that happened since Solo Sikoa lost the Ulafala from Roman Reigns. Ever since Jacob's match with Braun Strowman at Saturday night's main event, I knew they need to give this guy a belt already. His promo work, absolutely insane. Give that guy a mic and you're going to be in for a treat every single time. And that man can move in a ring like nobody's business. My God. Jacob is going to wow the masses. I think LA Knight is a really good wrestler as well. He does really good promo work. His little, yeah. I love hearing him on the mic because it's going to be really good. But I think that it's time to belt Jacob. In my humble opinion, I would have liked to see Carmelo Hayes win the US title after his 7 series tournament matches with Andrade. I have my own opinions about how that ended, but I think it's time for LA Knight's reign as US champion to end. Jacob Fatu for the win. Simone Werewolf, let's go. Next, we have El Grande Americano versus Rey Mysterio. I don't like El Grande Americano. I don't like what he stands for. I don't like his gimmick. I mean, the Gulf of America nonsense, his dumbass music. It's just, I can't do it. I can't. I don't give a if y'all say his gimmick is supposed to be offensive. It doesn't negate the fact that it's offensive regardless. I hate everything about him. I'm 70% sure that's Chad Gable under there. And what really sucks is that they're not going to give him a match as Chad Gable. They had to give him a match under this stupid ass gimmick. It's really annoying. And I think putting El Grande Americano against WWE Hall of Famer Rey Mysterio is absolutely ridiculous. As decorated as Rey Mysterio is, these types of matches should be beneath him. But the only two outcomes I hope from this match is that Rey Mysterio better win, because if he doesn't, I will riot. And that I hope El Grande Americano gets unmasked during the match, because I still think Dragon Lee needs to get his lick back after El Grande Americano unmasked him during that one Raw. That was just so disrespectful. But anyways, Rey Mysterio better win. Next, we have the best WrestleMania feud build this season, plus my most anticipated WrestleMania match, Jade Cargill versus Naomi. This entire feud, this entire story has had me on the edge of my seat since Jade got attacked last November. I don't think y'all understand how much I watch every single Raw or SmackDown to get a glimpse of any type of progression from this story. Jade and Naomi have been doing amazing character work. Naomi especially. That heel turn, cinema. Ever since Elimination Chamber, Naomi has been killing the promos. From this character that she has going on, the emotion that she can tap into to bring this character to life, it's unhinged. She's playing a unhinged, borderline obsessive version of herself, and it's so enticing. Jade feels like Naomi tried to take her out because she sees how much star power Jade has and that she did it out of jealousy. Furthermore, Jade feels betrayed because she saw Naomi as a big sister. They were in the big three together. Bianca, Jade, Naomi, the big three, they were as thick as thieves, you know? But on the other hand, Naomi thinks Jade is an opportunist. She thinks that Jade rode on Bianca's coattails to get where she is today in the WWE universe. And that belief is rooted in the fact that Naomi has always wanted to be in a tag team with Bianca. And even when Jade, Bianca, and Naomi were in the big three together, Naomi often felt left out. She often felt like she had to fend for herself and nobody had her back. It's just something about the heel characters that are heels by circumstance. Bianca's smack dab in the middle of this whirlwind, and she hasn't really been directly involved in this feud since that wonderful segment that she did with Naomi. I think the first SmackDown after Elimination Chamber, when Naomi admitted to being Jade's attacker. Since that segment, Bianca really has not had any direct involvement in the storyline. And I guess it's because she has that world title match at WrestleMania, that triple threat. I hope after this WrestleMania season is over, they kind of like ease her back into the storyline, because it just doesn't make sense to just shut her out of this entirely. Not when she's in the middle of everything. That being said, Naomi has to win this match. The story between Jade, Naomi, and Bianca has so many moving parts that it just doesn't make sense to end the feud here with Jade standing tall over Naomi at WrestleMania. I think it would be best for Naomi to win this match so the feud can be extended and the story can progress. And when WrestleMania is over, Bianca will be back into the mix and we can extend this even to SummerSlam. Maybe even longer, you know? But I think if WWE books this stuff right, this can be a feud for the ages. And Naomi has to win a world title by the end of this year by fire, by force. She has to be Miss Money in the Bank 2025. She needs a world title shot by the end of this year. That's my agenda. Okay? I'm on the Naomi world title agenda. And she better win that WrestleMania match. Next, we have Tiffany Stratton versus Charlotte Flair for the WWE Women's Championship. Now, I am not too familiar with Charlotte Flair, who she is within the WWE universe. It was very, very interesting to me seeing how she won the Royal Rumble. I didn't think Charlotte would win the Royal Rumble this year, considering the fact that the Royal Rumble was her first match back from her injury. But once I saw her and Roxanne there, I said they probably not gonna give it to Roxanne Perez. So Charlotte wins the Royal Rumble. This feud between her and Tiffany Stratton, I can't wait for it to end. The build to this match has been very shaky. A lot of the segments have been hard to watch. And my thing is, if you're gonna go off script, keep it in kayfabe as much as possible. Walk that line between kayfabe and reality. But that's just me. I don't have any doubts that the match itself will be horrible, considering the fact that these are two very talented wrestlers, very talented women who are very agile in the ring. Tiffany is right when she states that Charlotte has something to lose in this match. If Tiffany loses, then she loses to the Queen, Charlotte Flair, all hail the Queen and whatnot. But if Charlotte loses, she loses to a rookie who's beneath her level. You know, all of the things that she's been saying about Tiffany, if Charlotte loses, then it's going to be an embarrassment to Charlotte. So Tiffany is right in that aspect. I'm not really rooting for anybody in this match, but if Tiffany were to retain at WrestleMania, I hope they make her feud a lot more interesting than it is right now. Next, we have the War Raiders versus the New Day for the World Tag Team titles. I don't really feel anything in this feud. There hasn't been really much build to this match at all, frankly. After the heel turn at their 10th year anniversary, the New Day has been booed out of doing promos for about a month straight. Then they had a feud with Rey Mysterio and the LWO. And a week later, they have a match with the War Raiders that ends in a DQ, and then bam! WrestleMania match. If the New Day wins those titles, I hope it revives the tired ass heel run that they've been on lately. And somebody please tell Kofi Kingston to grow his mustache back. He looks like a satyr. Anyways, and if any tag team division was going to have a WrestleMania spot, it should have been the SmackDown division. But there would have been more build to that WrestleMania match than anything the Raw division has going on right now. Those tag team championship belts on SmackDown have been passed around like a sack of hot potatoes, from the Motor City Machine Guns to DIY to the Street Profits finally getting their tag team championships back after 4 years. They deserve to have a chance to defend it at WrestleMania. They could have easily been a ladder match too. I'm not really sure why the Street Profits are gonna have to defend their titles the day before WrestleMania. It doesn't make sense. They could have easily put that in the WrestleMania match card. Either way, the New Day will probably win, and I hope it makes this heel run more interesting. Next, we have Jey Uso versus Gunther for the Men's World Heavyweight Championship. I knew they were setting up for Jey to have a world title shot when he had that match with Gunther at Saturday Night Main Event. But when Jey won the Royal Rumble, I was ecstatic. I honestly thought they were going to give it to Cena because he announced his retirement tour. But when Jey kicked the ring, I jumped out of my seat. I was so happy for him. And the Jey Uso hate doesn't really make sense to me. That man is at the height of his career right now, height of his popularity. I think he's overdue for a world title shot. However, the build to this match had me worried for a month straight because we had the same segments happening every Raw in succession. For some reason, Jey had a feud with A-Town Down Under, and every time he had a match with one of them and he wins, Gunther sneaks up behind him, chokes him out. Jey acts like he ain't never gotten out of a chokehold before, rinse and repeat every single week. I was getting bored. And I truly think the inclusion of Jimmy revived this feud. Jimmy gave Jey the pep talk he much needed, made him believe in himself again, got him to lock in, because with the way Jey was acting, I'm like, this cannot be the same man who was right-hand man Jey Uso. Crash out Jey Uso. The man who pummeled Otis with a chair because he looked at him the wrong way. And I'm happy Jimmy woke his ass up. Now that segment where Gunther zip-tied Jey to the ring and pummeled Jimmy to smithereens, smearing his blood on his body, was batshit insane. And I think that's what turned people's heads back to this feud. Gunther's a good heel. He's a really good heel. And on the other hand, I don't really like that Jimmy had to be severely hurt and out for a few weeks in order for this to happen. We don't know when he's coming back, but it looks like he's going to be missing out on WrestleMania this year. Kind of hoping 2025 would be like Jimmy's year, But we're only 4 months in, so it could be Jimmy's year. But when Jimmy returns, he needs to get his lick back at Gunther. But Jey is walking out with that belt at WrestleMania, and we're gonna hear a new Men's World Heavyweight Champion main event, Jey Uso. We're gonna hear that, and I'm going to jump for joy. Next, we have the night one main event, which is CM Punk versus Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins. A whole lot of aura farming is going to happen during this match. I'm not really too sure what they're fighting about. Seth has alluded to the fact that they're fighting over the soul of this industry, but I feel like it's more like a custody of Paul Heyman match, with the way Paul is loyal to Roman Reigns, but he also owes CM Punk a favor for saving the OG Bloodline's ass at War Games last November. I think Seth Rollins is he just wants to instigate, and since he didn't smash Paul's head in with the little curb stomp, he now owes him a favor. Roman acting like Paul owing a favor to Punk is a huge shack in the back to him is actually kind of crazy to me, considering the fact that he knew about this favor since War Games. It was contingent on the fact that CM Punk joined them at War Games. Y'all had a sit down segment at a table, and Punk said flat out, hey, Paul, you kind of owe me a favor. Because if it wasn't for Punk, the OG Bloodline would not be in War Games. I feel like Roman acting like Paul like committed treason against the highest court in the land is crazy. Like, honestly, I don't know the outcome of this match. I can't even tell you who's going to win this match. But I know with these three in the ring together and with Roman all alone with no Paul Heyman in his ear, it's gonna be very interesting. Very interesting. Roman and Seth will butt heads for the rest of their lives. But adding CM Punk to the mix, I think it's going to be cinema. I'm very excited for this match. Next, we have Bayley and Lyra Valkyria versus Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez for the women's tag team title belts. Honest to God, I think this match was kind of like thrown together. No, I'm like 90% sure that match was thrown together. Bayley and Lyra aren't even like a real tag team, which like it kind of confuses me about this matchup. When I saw the lineup for that gauntlet match, there were a few people missing. Where the heck is Nia Jax and Candice LeRae? First of all, like I feel like there could have been like other options out there to add to the gauntlet match. I feel like in that gauntlet match they could have had Nia Jax and Candice LeRae, or even the Meta Girls from WWE NXT, the same Meta Girls who have been vying for those tag team titles for a while now, back when Bianca and Jade were a tag team. I just don't understand why they couldn't include them in this gauntlet match. But I'm like 80% sure Liv and Raquel are definitely retaining at WrestleMania. But I know that match will be really good because them girls can wrestle. Liv, amazing wrestler. Bayley and Lyra, amazing as well. Raquel, she can do some things in that ring. So I think it'll be a very entertaining match. Next is AJ Styles versus Logan Paul. With the way WWE has managed to sliver that man onto people's screens these last two WrestleManias, I'm beginning to think that they under contract or something, because this is ridiculous. Anyways, AJ better win this match. That's all I'm going to talk about outcome wise. But you know who's been adding some depth to this match, even though he's not necessarily in it? Karrion Kross. His backstage segments with AJ and the videos that he posts on social media have added a lot of insight and depth to this match that I didn't consider. And honestly, it's making the match more interesting than it actually is. He's been quite literally carrying the match build, cause Lord knows that annoying ass blonde man can't cut a promo to save his life. But anyway, AJ Styles better win. Next we have Braun Breaker versus Penta versus Dominic Mysterio versus Finn Balor in a 4-way match for the Intercontinental Championship. I think it's time for Braun's reign as Intercontinental Champion to end, but I'm really fine with any outcome of this match, really. Braun retaining would not surprise me. That man has the best spear I've ever seen. That man snapped Carlito in half. Oh my god. Like, Braun Breaker genuinely scares me. Penta debuted on the main roster in January and he's been over ever since. Oh my god. Not only is he an amazing wrestler, his Mexican Destroyer, another freaking level. Like, honestly, the catchphrase, me and my sister be like doing like saddle, middle. Like, every single time this guy comes on our screen, I won't be mad at Finn Balor winning. But I think like Dominic Mysterio winning that belt would not only be an upset to Finn will like try and like masquerade it as like him being happy, but he already don't like Dominic and he be throwing subtle shade at him every single week. But Dominic having a belt, Dominic definitely needs a push. I think this is one of those matches like I'm perfectly fine with anybody winning. Next up we have Damian Priest versus Drew McIntyre in a Sin City street fight. I feel like if anybody on this card would have an intense match like a street fight or a last man standing match, it would be Drew and Damian, because they beef, correct me if I'm wrong, but they beef starts back at WrestleMania 40. Drew held the championship belt for like 5 minutes. Damian cashes in on him, and then he gets another opportunity to win it from Damian, and then he ends up losing the match. I too would be pissed if I worked my ass off in a match to win a title belt and only got to hold it for like 5 minutes. But I also can't be mad at Damian because he saw the opportunity and he went for it. Drew's vendetta with CM Punk cost him a lot of opportunities, and Damian has been there for every one of them to use them to his advantage and one up Drew every single time. And honestly, I'm okay with either of them winning. But I think Drew will come out on top in WrestleMania. I think it's time for him to get it back in blood. Next, we have Rhea Ripley versus Bianca Belair versus Io Sky in a triple threat match for the Women's World Heavyweight Championship. The build to this match has been very stale. Most of the segments between these three women have been the same sequence of events in different fonts. Rhea and Bianca butt heads and push Io away. Io gets fed up with being disrespected and beats both Bianca and Rhea up. The crowd's been pissing me off because they've been booing Bianca for simply stating the fact that Rhea forced herself into this feud. So correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm still a new fan, I know that. But kayfabe wise, there are 3 ways to get a guaranteed world title match at WrestleMania. Either having the world championship already, winning the Royal Rumble, or winning the Elimination Chamber. Rhea held the world title belt during the Royal Rumble, and Rhea gave Io a world title match on a random Raw because Io was rightfully pissed off at Rhea for up her Elimination Chamber qualifier match. Ain't nobody tell Rhea to hit Liv Morgan without thinking. I too would be pissed if my shot at Elimination Chamber was taken away from me in a DQ because someone couldn't keep their hands to themselves. And the only person Rhea has to blame for losing her title belt is herself, because Bianca was watching her and Io's match, rooting for both of them because she was excited for having the chance to face either one of them at WrestleMania. And then Rhea gets cocky, which gave Io the opportunity to counter and pin her. Rhea had a backstage interview with Kathy Kelly that same night that she lost the title belt to Io Sky, and she sounded like she was taking accountability for her actions. She was pissed at herself for getting distracted during the match, and now she feels like she isolated herself from some of the only people that she thought of as friends. And I was actually kind of like interested in how they would progress Rhea's character after this backstage interview came out. But no, the week after this entire backstage segment happens, Rhea crashes the contract signing between Io and Bianca and starts blaming her issues on everybody else, asking silly questions, asking Bianca, why are you here? She's the winner of the Elimination Chamber. What do you mean? Where did the whole I lost my eye on the ball again, I need to circle back and look within myself, that whole that mature Rhea that I saw in that backstage interview, where did that go? I guess it was retcon. Rhea's rationale behind her blaming everything that goes wrong with her during the feud on Bianca and Io sounds absolutely ridiculous. And then she takes the contract and writes her name on it, just in shoving herself into this match. And then Io and Rhea get a rematch, and Rhea out here kicking Bianca and everything, even though Bianca's the guest referee, and then being mad that she not there to count her. Girl, you kicked her in the face. She knocked out. And then you're gonna get mad and say, why wasn't Bianca there? You kicked her in the face. Like, I feel I'm going crazy because every time Bianca states these facts to the public, the crowd boos her. And I'm like, what are y'all talking about? As for who I want to see win this match, I think Bianca and Io both have something to prove. Bianca extends her WrestleMania streak, and Io extends her short reign as the Women's World Champion. I'm leaning more toward Io retaining, but I honestly feel like since Bianca is on like a 4-0 WrestleMania streak right now, I think it would be cool for them to extend it. But I feel like they have something really good with Bianca's WrestleMania streak. And if it does end this WrestleMania, I hope it ends in a very beautiful way. Rhea should not win that match. In fact, she should take the pin. Next, we have John Cena versus Cody Rhodes for the WWE Championship. When John Cena announced his retirement, I thought he would retire babyface. The guy whose motto was hustle, loyalty, and respect would try to dig deep and fight through the Royal Rumble to try and get a shot at winning a world title for a whopping 17th time. But I think being runner-up in the Royal Rumble this year clicked something in John Cena's mind. He needed to do something drastic or he'll lose his final shot at becoming a world champion. So he aligned himself with a guy who has enough pull to get him a guaranteed spot in the Elimination Chamber. John Cena's heel turn at Elimination Chamber was definitely the heel turn heard around the world. First of all, when John Cena looks serious, he looks kind of scary and off-putting. When he was looking at The Rock with that scary ass expression on his face, I said there's no way. Now, the build to this match has been interesting because on the European tour, John Cena did a lot of promos, but I kind of want to see what he does with this character and how he'll retire. His whole shtick is basically, I don't care if you guys are disappointed in me. I don't care if you guys hate me now. I've been your puppet for decades. It's time for me to do something for me now. I'm going to take that belt and I'm going to retire with it. You guys will never see it again. I can only imagine the kids that looked up to this man being absolutely devastated right now. Cody is approaching, I think, a year into his championship reign. I still think they're gonna have John Cena win at WrestleMania. I kind of want John Cena to win too. I want to see what John Cena does with this. Now, I'm 60% sure that they're gonna have Cody win back the title along the line, but I think they're gonna have John Cena win at WrestleMania, and I want to see what John Cena does with his 17th world title. But anyway, those are my WrestleMania opinions and who I'd like to see win on the match card. Who would you guys like to see win? What are your opinions on this WrestleMania season? What are some builds that you've enjoyed? What are some builds that you kind of think meh? What are your opinions? I want to know in the comments below. I can't even promise when I'll upload another video. I'm sorry, y'all. I should have never made that promise. I should have never made that promise last video. I'm so sorry, but I'll see you guys in the next video, and I hope you guys have a great WrestleMania season, and yeah, see you on the next video. Bye.